Hey, what's up? I am Muchelleb, and in this video I want to show you the kinds of things that I have on my phone. To give you some context, if you're kind of new to this channel, you haven't watched many videos of mine before, mostly the stuff that I'm going to be showing you is stuff that's related to like productivity, life improving apps, note-taking apps, that kind of stuff. Just to set the expectations of that's what you're into, keep on watching. A lot of these apps I have talked about before on my channel, but this is just giving you like an in-depth view of these apps and like how I actually use them. So we'll start with my widgets page. You can see all my to-dos there and they probably look really weird without any context. The first thing on my widgets page is my Things app. So Things 3, I'll talk about it a little bit later, is the app that I use to hold all of my to-dos. The good thing about having a widget for your to-do app is that you can just literally swipe left and then type in whatever new to-do comes to mind. I'm really big on trying to capture anything that comes to mind as soon as it does. So as soon as you like see something and think, oh, I should do that, writing it down. That way you don't have to hold it in your brain. So having a widget makes it a little bit easier. I'm still actually trying to get into the habit of using my widget, but we're getting there. The next thing on my widget page is just my Google Calendar, so I can just see like the next 2 days or sometimes 1 day, depending on how much stuff I have going on. This is good as just like an overview. You can see like your to-dos for the day and your calendar for the day, so you know exactly what is going on. And then I have my screen time. So far it's been 11 minutes. Then you move on to my main screen. I have everything organized in folders. It's how I prefer it. I feel like we automatically categorize things in our brains, so it makes sense to categorize things on phones and like on your computer as well. The one thing about folders is that if you go too crazy with them, which I have done before, like I've tried to get every single category out there, you end up with all these folders and it's actually way harder to find everything. So keep any categories simple when it comes to using folders on your phone, I say. The first folder that I have is utilities. This is basically just stuff that I don't really use that it's like impossible to get rid of because I need it for some reason or another. The next folder that I have is media. So my media, that means like books, movies, like anything entertainment, but also a lot of educational stuff in there as well. So the first app there is Libby. We know that I freaking adore Libby. This is the app that I have said that if I were on a desert island and I could have one fully functioning app, this would be it. So Libby is basically like having a library for your phone. So you can get out books on your phone. I actually primarily use it for my iPad, but usually I think when you have something on your iPad, it reflects on your phone. I'm not actually sure how that works. So if your local library is connected to a platform like Libby or Overdrive, then you get free books and free audiobooks. It's freaking amazing. I couldn't recommend it more. So you can see like my most recent loans, Girl Wash Your Face, Lost Connections. That is an amazing book. So you can see on the front page of Libby, they like separate everything out and give you all these recommendations like new in books, popular books, all of these sections like books to become movies in 2019 and hot reads, celebrating International Women's Day. They change all the time and it's so good because you get so many book recommendations. So if you're a person who loves reading or a person who wants to read more, would highly recommend this app. The next app obviously is Spotify. Nothing really special about Spotify. I think we all know what Spotify is. Overdrive. So Overdrive is basically like Libby's sister. Well, Libby is really like Overdrive's sister. I see Libby as like the better version of Overdrive. The next interesting app that I have is Blinkist. So I've worked with Blinkist before on a few videos. Basically, this app gives you books in a blink. They give you like 15-minute, I believe, audio snapshots of books. It's a really good app to use if you're trying to decide what book to read. So if you hear like a book recommendation on a podcast, but you're like, oh, I'm not really sure if I want to read that, then you can go into Blinkist, listen to the little 15-minute blink and be like, okay, yes, this topic is interesting enough for me to look into it further and get that book out. But I've also had some books that I've listened to through Blinkist, so the 12-week year, that have like completely inspired a little mini revolution in my life. Blinkist is a paid app. I'm not 100% sure how much it is. Their podcast is really good as well. Their simplified podcast, so good. And I've just got Stan and Netflix. I think that I have them on my phone because I have them on my iPad because I don't really use Stan or Netflix on my phone. And then I have the Skillshare app, of course, so I can get access to any classes that I want. Once again, this is an app that I would probably use more so on my iPad than on my phone. If you've been on my channel for a little while, you'll know what Skillshare is. It's basically an online learning community, a whole bunch of video courses to guide you through specific topics, to help you to learn new things. This video isn't sponsored by Skillshare. And on the last page of my media folder is Kindle. Sometimes I'll want a book for longer than the 2 weeks that I have set in Libby, or they won't have a book and I'll really want it right now. So that's when I use the Kindle app to read books that I bought through Amazon. So you can see these are all the books that I've downloaded. I think some of them were actually freebies. If you watch my video on books that I'm reading in 2019 to improve my life, you can see that I've got the E-Myth Revisited and the 4-Hour Workweek, which were two that I mentioned. I think Start With Why was also in that video. Then I've of course got Deep Work and Atomic Habits, because those are kind of books that I just constantly go back to as well, so I like having actually purchased them. Then I have my social folder. So my social folder for me, it's filled with stuff that's obviously like social networks and connecting with people, but it also has stuff in it to limit my use of social media. So you've got Messenger, Pinterest, Gmail. Snapseed is probably like the app that I use before any edits. It just gives me like a basic edit for any Instagram photo. I really like how easy it is to edit in Snapseed. That's my favorite thing about it. I won't walk you through how I literally edit an Instagram photo. It's usually just like upping the brightness, upping the contrast. We want some ambience in there too, highlights. I think it's something about like being able to scroll to the side to tune your settings. It makes a difference. I prefer using that for any basic edits than the next app that I use, which is ViscoCam. So ViscoCam is where I add like my pink, my warmth, my grains, all of that kind of stuff that is on my Instagram feed. I have a pretty consistent editing technique. Like I don't really go in and specifically edit every video. I usually just apply the same edits to every single photo. So I'll usually just go in, I'll copy edits from an old photo, and then I will paste those edits onto the photo that I've just imported, and it just makes it look nice. So that's a very quick rundown of how I edit my Instagram photos. So the next app that I use is Preview. I use this as someone who wants to like plan out my Instagram feed a little bit more thoroughly. So you can see, I think these ones, the ones that are not uploaded, so you can drag them around and see what looks best. Right now I don't have that many in my bank to be uploaded. You can also go in, like write a caption, find hashtags. I just don't really use it for that purpose. It's mainly just for planning out what my Instagram feed is gonna look like when I've taken a whole bunch of new Instagram photos, which I will be doing very soon. And the last app, probably the most important app, the most life-improving app in this folder, considering social networks are a bit of a tough one, is Freedom. So Freedom is an app that helps me to block social media sites. And this is the lengths that I've gone to stop using social media quite so much, because it became quite detrimental in my life. I think a lot of people feel that pain too. Obviously, social media has some amazing benefits, but I think it can also be damaging. It gets you into that comparison trap. I know for me, I just get like a gross feeling if I'm on social media too much. So that's why I use Freedom. So you can see I've blocked my work email. I had this bad habit of going and checking my work email outside of work, and it just gave me anxiety because I couldn't do anything about the emails that were in my work folder. So my work email is blocked, and if I desperately need it, I can go onto Luke's phone. Then I have a Facebook block. So Facebook is basically blocked all of the time. So this app, it doesn't actually block like the Facebook app. It blocks the web address on Safari. So you need to still like delete the Facebook app, and this will just block it on Safari so that you don't do that like loop around. So the Facebook block, I have Facebook blocked all of the time. It became such a time waster for me last year that I was just like, okay, like I don't actually need Facebook in my life. I do re-download it occasionally when I want to sell something on Marketplace, because I've changed a few things in my room and gotten rid of a few bits of furniture, and Marketplace is kind of the best place to sell things. And also if like I hear about an event and I'm like, oh, I probably need the details of those. I did, a girl that I followed on Instagram actually said that you can get Facebook to email you whenever you're invited to an event, and it'll have all the details. So I'm like, okay, that seems like a way better way to do it. So I need to set that up. And I have an Instagram block. So Instagram is blocked, I think, all the time as well. No, it's not blocked on Saturday. So I do try to hop onto Instagram like once or twice a week just to check if I have any urgent messages and to upload a photo. So the next folder that I have is lifestyle. So this is kind of like anything life related, which seems very general and broad now that I think about it. First thing I have is Google Keep. We know I love Google Keep. So Google Keep I see as like my filing system. It's like, imagine if you had like a big old school drawer and it had all of those little pockets in it. That's how I see Google Keep. And when I need things from those pockets, I can just like hop into Google Keep and reference them. So the actual pockets are my labels that I have set up in Google Keep. I won't show you all of them because there are a lot, but I'll give you a look into some of them. So one of my first labels or folders on Google Keep is life vision and goals. This is something that I go back to like every single week. I've got my little life vision there. I've got my goals for January to March. I have Bali 2019 because Luke and I are headed to Bali in June of this year. Lots of people give me so many recommendations for Bali. Like whenever you mention that you're going to Bali, when you live in Australia, I should say, everyone's been to Bali. I'm like the last Australian to go to Bali. Everyone has tips, everyone has advice, they send you lots of stuff. So this is just a place to put all of that stuff. I've got birthday lists. So this is basically a list of things that come to mind for people's birthdays. So like during the year, if someone mentions something and they're like, oh, like I really want to get this, or I really want to do this, then you can chuck it on their birthday list. And that way when their birthday rolls around, you're not like empty of ideas. I do have a tab of ethical shops. You guys have asked me to share this with you. Please keep in mind that it's not vetted. I will share it in the description down below, but like I haven't gone through all of these people to verify that they're not just like claiming to be ethical because it's trendy. But if you're interested in what I have listed, I'll put those down below. I have food and coffee orders, so this is a really good tab to have. It's good for if you want to do a coffee run and you have a bad memory like me, because you have everything sitting in your app. And also if it's someone's birthday or something, you can just go into your app and be like, okay, I'll buy them a coffee and I know what their order is. I have my GTD, which is like my getting things done tab. In there I have the natural planning method. This is something I use all the time. I talked about it in my mind mapping video, how I mind map to get things done. I'll have it linked up here and down below. It's such a useful tool when you're not sure where to start with a project. And of course I have my little brain dump trigger checklist. This is something that I actually created for myself, sort of like a modern brain dump trigger checklist. I have it in my 30 Days to Simplify ebook. I'll have a link to that down below. I have a stuff I rebuy folder. So this is for when I'm at the shops and I need to rebuy my mascara, but I'm like, which mascara do I have again? Because that's me. I don't know like my shades or tones in anything. I have a takeaway orders folder. So this is just my takeaway orders and Luke's takeaway orders. That way if I'm ordering takeaway and for some reason can't get a hold of Luke, I know what I can order him that he will like. Once again, this kind of comes from a place of having a bad memory. Also being thoughtful, but like a lot just having a bad memory and being practical. Like I said, there are a lot of tabs there, so I won't show you through all of them, but that's kind of the gist. So the next app that I have in my lifestyle folder is Google Drive. I won't really show you that. It's just Google Drive. I don't do anything exciting or special with it. I have BetterHelp, which is like an online therapy website or app. LIFX is what I use to control all of my lights in the room. So I can turn my lights on. Oh crap, what have I done? And I can turn them off. It's all very exciting. I have my Google Home app, so I use my Google Home a lot if you haven't realized. I can also access my shopping list through this app, so I'm constantly yelling at my Google Home and telling it to add things to my shopping list. Of course, I have my reminders app. I think I have like 2 just constant reminders telling me to get ready for bed. My health and my notes, I don't really use those that much. The next folder is my travel and food. It also should say and shopping folder. So I've got like the standard stuff, Uber Eats, Good On You. So Good On You is an app that rates how ethical and how sustainable brands are, which is really useful for me because I am trying to be a little bit more intentional about the clothes that I purchase. I do find that there is limitations with this app. Like it doesn't have every single brand cataloged. I think it takes a really long time to actually profile a brand just because there is so little information out there on every single brand. And obviously this isn't a paid app, so I don't know how they're actually funding it. So it's good, but it definitely has like a scope. Happy Cow, I use this app whenever I'm traveling, like all through Europe. I use this app. I don't really use it at home, to be honest, because I know the vegan places in my area. I have a vegan sister and vegan friends that all tell me the best places to go, but I keep it there just for whenever I go to new places. The only other kind of interesting one in this folder is Airtasker. Airtasker is an app where you can just pay people to do random tasks around your house. Probably in the US you already have something like this, but in Australia I feel like this is a new concept. So you can see that they do things like cleaning, assembly, handyman, that kind of thing. My YouTube app, it just has my YouTube Creator Studio. So my Creator Studio shows me how I'm going on YouTube. I don't think I'm going that well right now. Oh no, we're doing okay. Then I have my Ulysses app. I freaking love Ulysses. This is my writing apps. This is where I plan all of my videos. So you can see I have my what's on my phone plan here. I don't usually, like I write out scripts, but I don't necessarily stick to them. I feel better when I've written out a script because everything feels a lot clearer to me as opposed to when I have nothing to go by and then I'm just like, I don't know what to do. The next app that I have is Things. I freaking adore Things. Essentially, I try to organize my things by context. So you've got discuss, call, home, computer, errands. That way, like when I'm out and about, I can just look at my errands folder and be like, okay, like what else could I do while I'm here? I also try to categorize my to-dos by projects and by tasks. So you can see my projects, and I think I need to do like a bit of project mining because I'm sure that I have more than this. So I have things like fix TMJ, which is like a very broad goal. TMJ is like a jaw thing that I have. And there are a variety of steps that I'll probably need to go through to get through that process. And then if you go into calls, you can see there's like book this appointment with this doctor that someone recommended to me related to TMJ. So that's like the task underneath that project. So that's kind of how I organize all of my to-dos. I am still trying to work out how to split like my home tasks and my work tasks because they're two like very different things. And I find it difficult when it's all mushed together because often my work stuff is just way more important than my home stuff, like ordering a new mascara versus like creating a video, just like two very different things. So I've tried to organize it by work and home. I'm still playing around with it at the moment. The other app that I have that I use quite a lot is Google Calendar. So you can see I have multiple calendars underneath my calendar. Mainly my events calendar is for stuff that I'm literally obligated to show up to. So things like my hair appointment, my tattoo appointment. I have Luke's calendar just that I can see like what he's doing. He honestly doesn't use his calendar, but I put stuff in his calendar whenever things are coming up that we're both going to. If I don't put something in my Google Calendar or I don't check my Google Calendar before booking something in, often I will double book myself. Like that's the kind of person I am. I feel like I don't talk about that on this channel enough because truly I am not a naturally organized person. I do a lot of these things to help myself be more organized as someone who doesn't naturally embrace organization. If you liked this video, you might like my video on what to do if you have zero motivation. I talked through a bunch of things that I thought of when I had zero motivation, and some that I did and some that I recommend. So I'll have that video linked on the screen for you to watch after this one, as well as down below if you want to. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I appreciate you so very much, and I will see you soon.